Warriors season from hell is finally over, and to be honest with you, once the initial disappointment and anger passed, I felt this weird sense of relief that this drama-filled roller coaster of a season came to an end. Now, of course, I wanted to see the Warriors go all the way and repeat. I'm lying to say I wasn't disappointed to go out in the second round, especially with it being the Lakers that put us out of our misery. So this one for sure hurt. Anyone who knows me personally knows how much I can't stand the Lakers, but it is what it is. We just gotta take the L and let the suckers have their moment. As a fan, this has been the most draining season of the Dynasty. This is sports, man. It's supposed to be fun, but I think I speak for more than myself when I say this season wasn't too enjoyable. From the moment Draymond punched Jordan Poole, they've been fighting an uphill battle this season. First and foremost, I just want to say, shout out to Andrew Wiggins for lacing him up and being there for his brothers. He showed a lot of heart going out there and putting it all on the line to at least be available for his team. But it was obvious how much the injury limited him. He wasn't effective offensively or defensively, and expecting him to be was unrealistic. In the first few possessions of the game, LeBron posted up Wiggins and went right at him, testing that ribcage. LeBron barely posted up Wiggins at all this series, but you already knew the Lakers were going to go at Wiggins. Imagine guarding LeBron, who's 6'9", 260, in a playoff game with a fractured rib, and all he's trying to do is go right through you every possession. It's tough, man. Wiggins' rib fracture is a 6 to 8 week injury. If it wasn't for the fact that the Warriors season is on the line, there's no way he would have played. But again, credit to him for being out there for his team. Klay having the worst playoff series of his career on top of Wiggins' injury didn't help either. For the series, Klay averaged 16 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 2 assists on 34% from the field and 38% from 3. Yikes, that's trash. But it gets worse. In games 4, 5, and 6, Klay averaged 9 points on 21% from the field and 26% from 3.
Damn!
Now, I understand he wore down with the Warriors playing every other game since Game 6 of the Kings series. But if a guy you're relying on as a second option is giving you this little production, it's a wrap, bro. You ain't got no chance to win the championship. 9 points shooting 21% from the field? Come on, bro. That's egregious. I'm sorry, but until further notice, the Game 6 Klay moniker is retired. His last 3 Game 6s, one against the Celtics last year in the finals, last series against the Kings, and this one against the Lakers, they didn't go too well. It's going to have to be some tough conversations with Klay this summer, starting with a pay cut on his next contract. If he wants to stay with the Warriors, he's going to have to come down significantly from that $40 million he made this year. With the new CBA restrictions and the rising luxury tax, it's impossible for the Warriors to keep the Steph, Klay, Dre, Wiggins core together if he doesn't take a pay cut. Hopefully, this series was a wake-up call for Klay. I'm sure he was expecting a max contract, but after this disappointing series, there's just no way to justify it. Klay has a decision to make. Either take a pay cut to stay in Golden State and continue competing for titles with the squad you came in with, or leave. Simple as that. Now, hopefully he realizes that and stays, but there also needs to be an understanding moving forward that Klay can't be the second option anymore. He's too inconsistent to be relied on in that role. Wiggins either needs to step into that second option role, or the combination of Wiggins, Klay, and Poole all need to come back better players next season. But it's not all on Klay, man. He wasn't the only one that had a rough series. We gotta talk about Jordan Poole. JP didn't just struggle against the Lakers, though. He was trash against the Kings, too. In the 2023 playoffs, including 7 games against the Kings and 6 games against the Lakers, Poole's averaging 10.5 points and 3.5 assists, shooting 34% from the field and 25% from 3 in 13 games, compared to 17 points and 4 assists, shooting 51% from the field and 39% from 3 in 22 games in last year's playoffs. Now, JP, I know you got your bag, but damn, man, how do you regress that much? My guess is that his confidence was shot in the playoffs. But when you consider the fact that Poole's still a young player, only 23, he's going to have his ups and downs as is. On top of that, the Draymond punch in training camp, you can see how that would affect a young player. And if we're being honest, Poole might be the worst defender in the league. If there was an all-NBA worst team for defense, Poole's 100% making the squad. Yeah, he's that bad. This ain't me trying to pick on Poole, but I gotta call it how I see it. Watching Poole trying to get through screens is comical. Anytime the other team sets a screen, he's dying on that screen 9 times out of 10. It's guaranteed easy offense for the other team. His effort level and defensive technique is some of the worst I've ever seen, and he never gets into a defensive stance. He's always caught flat-footed on straight line blow-bys. If he gets posted up, it's a guaranteed bucket. He offers 0 resistance physically. It's disappointing because Poole has decent tools to be at least a solid defender. He's 6'4" with a 6'7" wingspan and decent athleticism. With those physical tools, it's no excuse to be a worse defender than Trae Young. With how bad of a defender Poole is, if he's on the court, he has to be scoring efficiently to make up for all the points he's given up on defense. But when he's not scoring or playing defense, like he was against the Kings and Lakers, he's basically unplayable because he's not contributing anything else. He's a target for the other team. Now, Poole's young and still improving, but he has a lot of work to do over the summer. It got to a point against the Lakers where I was all for giving Poole's minutes to Moody, even though he didn't get much PT in the regular season. I had more confidence in 20-year-old Moses Moody to execute the game plan over JP. Moody took advantage of his opportunities presented, and he got rewarded for it. I still would have liked to see him play more this postseason, but going into next year, I can't imagine him not being a major part of the rotation going forward. He seems to have earned Kerr's trust. As for Steph, it's tough because overall, I don't think he played bad at all, but he definitely wasn't at his best. I think Curry's the best player in the world, so I gotta hold him to those standards. He averaged 27 points, 7.5 assists, and 5.5 rebounds for the series. So solid numbers, but he only shot 34% from 3 and 44% from the field. So the efficiency wasn't quite there. But once you put into context and realize he was the only source of consistent offense, because Klay and Poole, his second and third leading scorers, literally couldn't hit a shot. And the Lakers loaded up on him knowing no one else can make them pay. It's hard to put too much blame on Steph. Although I admit he could have been better. With that being said, Steph was the only one on the team that could create a shot. On top of that, all his shooters were ice cold. Steph gave him enough to win the series. He just needed a few of the main guys to show up. Between Klay and Poole both having a disaster series, and the Wiggins injury, they just didn't have enough to get it done. The moment Wiggins fractured his ribcage, the Warriors season was over. Even if they somehow squeaked past the Lakers in 7, no way they were beating the Nuggets with that version of Wiggins. Expecting him to play through a 6 to 8 week injury for another 2 rounds was wishful thinking at best. Now, I do tip my cap to the Lakers for going out there and doing what they were supposed to do, but the Wiggins injury was too insurmountable to overcome against a LeBron and AD-led team surrounded by a deep roster. The Lakers' trade deadline additions was the difference. The Warriors' margin for error was already razor thin, and not having a healthy Wiggins was a dagger. It felt like the Warriors figured out something with the Steph and Wiggins pick and roll in Game 5, but after the injury, all that went out the window. Even though they went out in the second round, I don't think these dudes are done winning chips yet. Not as long as they have Steph Curry on the team, playing at an extremely high level still. This is what Steve Kerr had to say about the core. Draymond, Klay, and Steph, our core guys, they have plenty left to offer, Kerr said following a Game 6 loss. It's not like this is the end of the road. The organization has some decisions to make. We'll eventually get to that point. Kerr sounds pretty convinced these dudes have plenty left in the tank to compete for titles going forward. It's just going to take a few moves in the offseason to improve the roster construction. It's not necessarily a lack of talent, it's more so a lack of versatility. They need more front court spacing and rebounding from their bench. Basically, they're still looking to replace the Otto Porter role. He was the perfect stretch forward for this team. OBJ could shoot, rebound, screen, and make quick decisions. Now the hope is that Patrick Baldwin Jr. can step into a role next season and contribute in similar areas, but you can't bank on that. PBJ is not even 21 yet. You can't just pencil him into the rotation. The Warriors learned that lesson the hard way with Wiseman. Even though they did the right thing trading him for GP2, that being the only move they made left him with more holes to fill. A lot of guards and not enough playable front court players. It's going to be a busy offseason for the Warriors. But anyways, that's all I got for y'all. Now that the season's over, I plan on doing different types of videos for the offseason. The Warriors got the 19th pick, so I'm going to do some draft stuff. Maybe some fake trade videos. So if you're into that type of content, stay tuned. Peace.